Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. Today I wanted to do a video focused more on Korean, and I wanted to just talk about my opinion on how to get used to a language barrier, especially when you are living in Korea. So I have been here for a little over a year now, and when I first got here, I was pretty overwhelmed. I had studied quite a bit before coming here, and I thought that, I should be fine. I should be able to understand people, and I should be able to talk to them. Things should be fine. And then I realized pretty quickly that my level was nowhere near as high as I thought it was. And I'd say around the 3-month mark, which was in October, since I came here last July. Around October, I started to feel very, very frustrated and very upset with myself because I could not understand pretty much anything that people were saying. And I kept getting praised that my pronunciation was so good, and that I was good at Korean, but it was so hard for me to understand anyone. So I was like, how do they think that I'm so good when I can't even hold a conversation? So it took me a good month or two to get over that little wall, that hump, I guess, of frustration and that language barrier of me just being so almost defeated. But what can you do? You sign a contract for a year or maybe even 6 months if you're in a different program to teach English. You have to kind of stick it out, So and obviously I love so much about Korea, so I wasn't going to give up that easily. So I studied really hard. And I just decided to do a few things that I think helped me a lot. Now, I'm nowhere near intermediate or advanced level. I'm still a beginner level, but I do feel a lot more comfortable in certain situations, and I don't give people just a blank stare anymore. I try to at least tell them if I don't understand. So, it takes a lot of courage, honestly, to do that. But so a few tips. So if you are thinking about going to Korea, or if you're in Korea and you are struggling with the language barrier, thinking I'm not good enough, I can't understand anyone, there's a few things that I've done that has helped me. And it's not really studying tips. There's some studying tips, but a lot of it is really just about your mindset and how you go about thinking about the Korean language. You'll see what I mean. So, number 1 tip to get used to the language barrier is to practice your listening. And that seems of course, but I mean really actively practice it. If I just have if I just have the TV on, or if I'm watching a drama or something and I'm listening, it's more like I'm hearing it, passively, and then I'm not really trying to translate every single word that they are saying. That, honestly, it's good to do some passive listening, but I think what's best is if you actively listen. So take real life conversations, for example. When I'm at work, people are talking all the time, of course. So if I get to sit down with someone at lunch, usually we have all the teachers and all the students, we sit down in the same room. It's a big cafeteria, but we all sit down in the same room and we eat our lunch. And, I listen to what the teachers are saying. And so I actively listen. So usually what I'll do is I will look at their mouth specifically and just watch what their mouth is doing and also listen. And I believe having those two things, listening to it and also watching their mouths move, helps me figure out what words they are saying, and then I can kind of get an idea of what they're talking about, what the topic is, at least. That took a lot of practice to do. So it'll take time. But that, I believe, has helped a lot in terms of my just comprehension. Just listening. Even if I don't understand anything that they're saying, I just listen. Just listen, you know? And sometimes they feel bad. But if you just say, you know, I just like to listen, then usually they're like, okay. So moving on to that. So adding on, actually, if you are listening and you hear a word or a phrase that is repeated, you know, they use very often in this conversation, and you don't know what that word is, right? So number 2 is to think of that word, remember that word, or even just how it sounds, because it can be difficult to realize what the word is or even how to spell it. So just remember how it sounds, and then write down what you think it is, like just in the Hangul, you can write down what you think it is, and also write down your feeling. What do you think that word means? What kind of feeling do you get? So when you get into, I'd say around my level, which is only upper beginner, but I'm already getting the sense of what words might mean based on their feeling. There's a certain kind of 느낌. Oh, here I am using Korean. So there's a certain kind of feeling towards each word. And so if I keep hearing it, then I'll be like, I wonder what that is. So I'll write down what I think it is. And then I will finally look up the word and find out the meaning. But you definitely need to write down the word, okay? Even if it's spelled wrong, it's okay, you know? It's just purely for you to understand the words that are most commonly used, and that'll help you understand the conversation too. If you know the words that are used so often, you know, it just makes sense that you'll understand a little bit more about the topic. So definitely do that. So that's number 2. Write down the word the best you can, write down the feeling, and write down the meaning. Okay. Number 3, I would say this is not really like a studying tip. This is more of just a reminder that repetition in any language, doesn't have to be Korean, like it can be any language, even our first language, our native language. Repetition is so crucial. It is so key in us remembering and knowing what things are. You know, just think about this. Like, think about how often we hear the word red. Okay? Red. Okay, if you hear someone say the word red, you immediately think of that color, right? And think about how many times have we heard that word that we are able to immediately associate it with the color and think of the color upon hearing that word, right? The connection is so strong that it's simultaneous, right? It's so fast because we have it ingrained and we've heard that word so many times. So think about that for Korean, right? If you keep hearing the same word in Korean, and finally you'll be able to link it, right? And be able to associate it real quickly to whatever the meaning is, okay? So I don't know if I have an example here. This. Okay, this, in English, we call what? Kleenex tissue, right? This, in Korean, I've heard pretty often, okay? And this, specifically this, is called 휴지, okay? And they also say this for toilet paper, okay? And they say this for, like, you know how we have, like, wet wipes and stuff, okay? So any kind of tissue, okay, is called 휴지, okay? It doesn't have to be the one that you blow your nose with, okay? It can be any kind of tissue, all right? So if you hear 휴지, right? I've heard 휴지 a lot. So I know immediately that 휴지 means this thing, okay? This thing, this kind of tissue. It could be toilet paper, okay? Toilet paper specifically is 화장지. But I've heard people just say 휴지, and if you're in the bathroom or near the bathroom, you kind of know that they're talking about bathroom tissue or, you know, toilet paper. So Yeah, so that's an example. Just think about how often you hear that word, right? So definitely remember that, okay? Repetition is so important in any language that you are learning, okay? Even if it's your native language. We've all gone through our lives and have heard so many words so many times that we just get used to it and we just know what it means, okay? It becomes so natural to us. So just keep that in mind when you are learning Korean or any language, okay? And I want to also say quickly, I want you to speak as much as you can, okay? Even if you are so scared that you're going to make a mistake and so nervous that they're not going to understand, like, just speak. Just do it, okay? Because you will feel so proud of yourself for building up the courage and actually doing it, okay? It doesn't, like, all mistakes aside, okay? So many of my Korean coworkers try to speak to me in English and they say things wrong all the time, but I don't judge them. You know, they're trying. And as long as they see that effort coming from you, they're going to appreciate it a lot more, you know? And I feel like I've gotten much closer to my coworkers because of the fact that I'm trying. They know that I'm trying and I'm learning Korean. And I believe it makes a big difference. So definitely speak as much as you can. It's only beneficial for you, okay? And then I'd say the last thing is just know that it is okay to be frustrated. It is totally okay. You know, you are trying to build a whole nother identity, okay? I think Motivate Korean has a really good video on this about having a different self, okay, in your language, right? So we have our native selves, okay? For me, it's my English self, right? And I think, yeah, I like myself, right? But I like my English self, right? When you're learning a different language, you take on a completely different persona. Okay, and I had no idea that I could be so different when speaking Korean versus when I speak English. It's so weird because the English self, English Tara, is super outgoing, super friendly, you know, wants to talk to people all the time, you know, just very happy, extroverted, you know. But my Korean self, Tara, right? That's how they say my name, the Koreans. Tara is very shy, introverted, nervous, right? And quiet, just very, very quiet. Even when I speak in Korean, I speak very quietly in Korean. And I'm working on that. I don't want to be that, you know, super reserved, shy person because that doesn't feel like me. But right now it's me, right? Because I'm still growing. And your Korean self, right, your Korean identity needs time to grow. And what Motivate Korean, Jeremy, has told me personally was that you have your English self, and your English self starts to become like your parent, like the parent in this language relationship, right? The English parent, you know, is trying to grow the Korean child or the Korean baby, right? And so you need time to be able to finally make the two languages more balanced, right? And to be able to think in Korean and respond in Korean and be comfortable in Korean, you know, you need to kind of let, like, the parent, yourself, the English self, the parent kind of needs to have an active role in the Korean, the growing of the Korean child. And how to do that is very difficult, but it takes a lot of time, and I'm starting to understand a little bit more about it. But the best thing is to just think of the two as two separate things, right? The English self and the Korean self. And just know that you are trying to work on this, but you need help from this in order to help to make this grow, right? So just remember that it's supposed to be a kind of synergy or cooperation, right, between the two. And just don't give up, because I know it's frustrating. It's okay to be frustrated, like I said, but just know that you need the time, and you need to put forth effort as well, of course, to learn Korean and to grow your Korean self. But I think that once you realize how different the two languages are, English and Korean, take a step back a bit and think about it more objectively. And I think that will open up your mind a lot in terms of learning a new language. And it'll make you feel a little less stressed about the whole language barrier thing. And if you have that kind of mindset, that objectiveness about you in terms of learning a new language, then you feel like every single situation, environment that you're in is like just another opportunity, you know? It's an opportunity to learn and to grow. You know, don't think of it as, oh, I'm gonna fail this, I'm gonna mess this up, I'm gonna make a mistake. Think of it as, I'm going to grow from this, right? So yeah, this is kind of long video, but I do hope that it helps you. And please let me know if you have other suggestions for what I should talk about. I have a lot of things that I want to just share to others who are trying to learn Korean. And so if you have anything that you want me to talk about, anything that you are not sure on, and if I know how to explain it, then I can definitely turn that into a video. I want this channel to be active. I really do. I want to talk about my struggles and what I've learned and just the experience so far here in Korea. So I want to be able to help you guys. So yes, please leave a comment, make sure to like this video, and please subscribe if you haven't already. And hopefully I will have another video out for you soon. Thank you guys so much, and make sure that you keep growing and keep learning. Bye.